Everybody, welcome to Beyond the Bell. I'm Andrew Zarian. I'm joined by Rich Stambolian. What's going on, Rich? That's not
Hello.
you. There
What
you
was
are.
it?
There you go. Do it
Hello.
again. Rich
Hello.
is
What's up?
remote, and on my controller here, where I used to switch, Rich goes to nowhere, and he's under guest one, and I got to go to side by side now because it makes my brain
There we go.
stop hurting. Oh boy, what a week! We didn't do a show on Friday. There was no Mat Men this week. I had a very hectic work week, but we're here for Beyond the Bell. A lot of good wrestling again. A lot of fun wrestling and a lot of good wrestling.
It has been a embarrassment of riches when it comes to wrestling, I think, across the board.
Yeah.
Maybe not so much for New Japan. I was trying to tell you guys this week in the group chat, or I was like, Goto's the champ. When did this happen?
You what did you watch this weekend?
I watched everything. I watched everything. I loved everything. Raw in Glasgow was fantastic.
Yeah, we got to talk about this because this European tour that they've done, this is the first time they've done something like this. Obviously, this is the time that they go there. They go in March or April, but I've never seen them do week after week of TV like this. And it's interesting because I don't mind these afternoon shows.
No, not at all. They're the best.
Right? Like, I don't mind it. I don't mind that it's on at 3 in the afternoon.
Imagine if we were on the West Coast. It would be on at noon.
Noon. Yeah. I don't mind it at all, dude. I have it on in my office. I put it on. Monday Night Raw starting. John Cena starts the show. I'm like, oh, this is great. By the time the show's over, it's time to go home.
Did you see, speaking of the European tour, did you see the clip that WWE released where CM Punk got so overwhelmed by the crowd that he started crying?
Yeah.
At ringside?
Yeah.
That tells you something.
Yeah, dude. Listen, you're constantly chasing that, right? You're constantly chasing that. And when you get it, it means a lot, especially late in your career. This is a guy that, he left. And I don't think he thought he'd be there.
Yeah, and I think also it's a testament to the fact that the fans are still there and they still remember this guy. This guy left for 11 years? 7 years? 10 years?
He was the Savage to Cena's Hogan.
Yes, 100%.
He was there for a very unique time when, who were the guys that they were pushing, really? Like, who were the guys? It was 2005, 2006, 2007. I mean, if you go post Benoit, right? Let's go post Benoit. It was really, he was there. He was in the top 3 or 4, but he wasn't the chosen guy until he was. And that's the thing about wrestling,
100%. Also, post Benoit is our producer MG Geek's rap name.
That is his rap name, post Benoit. Yeah. That's what he would go by. Yeah. I don't know why you're laughing. That's the truth. His album's coming out April 17th.
Laughing.
His album's coming out.
But it was
at that grill and everything.
Orton, right? Cena.
At that time, yeah. Orton, Cena were like the 2 big ones. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Punk. It was like an okay main event scene. I feel like now, like the current main event scene.
Now it's out of control.
It's insane.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. Where do you want to start? Because we have a lot of stuff to talk about. I do have an interesting little scoop regarding AEW programming coming up in June. And it is kind of showing you somewhat of how Max or Warner is looking at programming nowadays, where things don't have to always be the same every week. We saw that this weekend with splitting up Collision into 2 one-hour programs on Saturday and Sunday. The ratings are not out yet, and they should be today. I'm imagining at least Saturday's number will come out today. I haven't seen it, but they are going to play around with programming. And there's a very unique concept that I'm hearing about, and we'll talk about that in a little bit here when we get to AEW. But why don't we go into Monday Night Raw? What did you think of this?
Listen, I enjoyed it. I love this is very egotistical and narcissistic, by the way. I love the way I watch wrestling personally, and I feel like you feel the same way. Where, listen, Mondays I usually try to take off, right? So Monday, crack open a beer, have a late lunch. I put my TV on super fucking loud. I know that European crowd is going to be amazing. And guess what? It was.
Yeah.
John Cena starts the show. They booed this MFer out of the building. It was fantastic.
He's legitimately getting boos. Now, I got to tell you, I didn't love the back and forth segment with Cody.
It was okay.
It was fine. Well, yeah,
it was fine. Let me ask you, how do you feel about this John Cena heel promo work?
So it's interesting because there are a lot of aspects that I really like about it, and then like he said, he's there to ruin pro wrestling.
Yeah,
and I was like, okay, tell me how, why. He brought up the spinner belt. Essentially, his whole thing is that the fans are ungrateful. And that he's finally snapped after 20-something years. And, if you really think about it, this guy was the ultimate goody two-shoes.
Yes.
He was all about the kids. He did the Make-A-Wishes. Yep. He dressed up like a fucking cartoon. You know? He dresses up like a 14-year-old boy. And that's his gimmick. He was rejected his whole time.
Yep.
He was rejected. Imagine he's like really depressed. He's like, nobody ever sees me.
I don't want anybody to see me. Just
and then it becomes,
give up.
I don't want anybody to see me. Just give up. I don't want you to see me.
Give up.
He did everything the right way, ultimate babyface, and now he's coming out and saying, you people did this to me. You've rejected me. But there's a couple things here that are missing. One, the fact that he's going for number 17, which would be the all-time record. And two, where's The Rock? Tell me about that relationship. We haven't got, they never came out and said, oh, this is why Dwayne and I have aligned.
Right. I feel like that's going to come, but probably with Dwayne's schedule, it gets a little murky, that guy's not on the European tour. He's not allowed in, Belgium. I don't know if that's true.
Look at this. But we got a lot of Queens. We got a lot of Queens people in the chat room.
Oh, look
Steven from Queens Village. We have high functioning madmen. Morning from Oakland Gardens. Anybody from Ronkonkoma?
From Ronkonkoma? Anybody from Howard Beach?
Howard Beach. I didn't. His promos are not a problem. I get what he's trying to do. I think the Cody's promos are weird sometimes, and I think it was one of those weird days for him yesterday with that promo.
College Point in the house. Yeah, it was a weird day. I think. Look at it. Brad in the chat says, Andrew, when are we getting John Cena merch for Break-A-Wish? Just give up.
Oh, you know what? They'll never do it. They'll never do it.
Nah.
They'll never do it.
Is he still do you have merch numbers on you? Do you have merch numbers in your
I don't have it on me, but I had it recently. I think CM Punk was top when I looked.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I would think him and Punk and Cena are probably still
I'm sure now that Cena's back. Yeah. I'm sure that now that he's back, he's selling it's most likely it's Punk, it's Cena, it's Cody, it's Roman, and then I don't know who Penta. No, Penta was number one.
Oh,
Penta was up there for a little bit when I last looked. So Penta. I don't know. I thought it was fine. I know a lot of people did not like this promo. They didn't like the interaction. But we have time, and they're getting there.
Yeah. I think exactly.
It'll be fine by the time we get to Mania. They'll figure out this, and they'll probably do something big when they come back to the States too. That's also part of it.
Yes. Oh, for sure. And that's when Dwayne The Rock Johnson's going to show up. Can you read the last comment on the YouTube, please?
Rich and Andrew, let's go.
No. Two above.
Thick and long shaft from Toronto here. I don't know what those words are behind it.
Thanks, man.
What does that mean? What does that word mean? Ito beat
the last word. Yeah.
Is that a Canadian thing?
It might be a Canadian thing.
Maybe it is.
Oh, that's his district. Okay.
That's his district.
His
Were too many. There's too many consonants in that word.
I didn't know that Fightful let Canadians watch their shows.
They could only host. They're not allowed to watch. He got through a VPN, dude. They're only allowed to host the shows. So I thought that was fine. You got the Usos, Jimmy and Jay, defeating A-Town Down Under.
Great.
Jimmy was a surprise partner. And this is the first time that the Usos have tagged in a traditional match since Money in the Bank 2023. Can you believe that?
Crazy, right? Almost 2 years.
I would have gotten that totally wrong. If that was a trivia question, I don't think I would have gotten that.
100%. Like, I feel like it would have been longer. Like, if you were like, hey, when was the last time the Usos tagged together? I probably would have said, like, 2021.
No. I would have said, like, last year.
Oh, okay.
But, I mean, that is right because they lost. Remember, they lost against, at that WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And then they haven't tagged. Interesting. After the match, Gunther tried to attack Jay. Jimmy made the save with a chair. Jay would. This was interesting. Jay did he slipped.
Yeah.
And he kind of got eaten by Gunther there when he was going to deliver a spear. I thought that was really good. That was a really unique spot that they did.
Mm-hmm.
This was referencing the slip on the top rope from last week that got a lot of negative attention.
Yeah.
This was something. Chad Gable. This was incredible to see.
Listen, I'm with it, man.
Chad Gable, I got to tell you, you're Hispanic. Are you offended by this?
No, not at all.
Some people are, and I get that.
Not at all.
Some people are offended by this. Some people think it's in bad taste. I think it's a television show, and that's what they do in TV. Sometimes they do villainous things, and
he's a character. He's a character.
Like,
these are characters. He's a character, and this is the oafish way this character is doing his thing.
So Chad Gable says he can't compete. But he tells Dragon Lee and Rey Mysterio that El Grande Americano is going to take his place.
Amazing.
Right before this, they did a tongue-in-cheek vignette of the history of El Grande Americano. And they show, all the legendary luchadors.
Yeah.
And I guess what triggered everybody was that they say that he's from the Gulf of America. And what a ridiculous... Well, look at, imagine it's him, dude. He takes the mask off and it's him.
Terrible.
I watched it. I said, they're being cute, tongue in cheek. And this is leading to this dude getting his ass kicked by all the luchadors. Right. Most likely, exactly. I mean, it's possible it's going to be Rey Fenix that takes him out, and what a great way for Rey Fenix, to come into the company.
Exactly.
And him and his brother will tag, and they'll do a whole thing. Listen, you look at character development, and you look at what these people were doing before this. Chad Gable, do you remember that ridiculous gimmick they gave him?
Yep.
What was it called, MG? Shorty G. Yeah. Okay?
Yeah.
Creatively, I'll take this 10 times over that stupid Shorty G stuff.
Again, because he's also... like his character is like the Chad Gable character is like the ultimate braggadocious douchebag, right? Yeah. Like he's a douche with the shoosh stuff and like the team and like the rah America stuff, and then for him to show up as El Grande Americano, fantastic. It's a character. It's a TV show. This is like if people getting mad at this is like watching Eastbound and Down and getting mad at Kenny Powers at how fucking shitty he is.
What a shitty person he is. Listen, sometimes you do these things, and again, he's not even presented as he's not even being presented as anybody being overly political. I think he's just being presented as an idiotic heel. And heel. Listen, did I see it and say, okay, that's interesting? Yeah, I did. Do I think this is the angle of the night? No. It's weird outright, whatever. Just, I don't micro analyze every aspect of everything that I wouldn't do. You know what I mean? That's how I see this.
But again, but like I feel like you can't say that because you don't work there. And if you were asked to do that, would you do that? Would you be a team player? If they were like,
it's your job.
Andrew, right? Like Andrew, we need you to go out. This is what
go
we
and
have
dress
for
up
you.
like a Turk from the 1200s.
Yeah, you're an Ottoman, straight up, and
I'm
go
a
out
straight
there
up
and do
Ottoman.
your thing.
Yeah, I get
like,
paid to do it, you know?
Yeah, would you be like, oh, I got a problem with this? You know, you'd be like,
I actually look forward to it. I'm like, wait, you're going to put that giant onion on my head? Yes, please. Yes, please.
Yeah, it's TV. It's a TV show.
Yeah, so this is obviously leading into... And here's the other thing, right? The whole point of this is that he's going to get his butt kicked. They're going to kick his ass.
Mm-hmm.
You know who does a great kick your ass? My father.
Oh, yeah?
He's going to kick his ass. My father does a great... He's going to kick your ass.
Your Fred impression is getting so much better.
It's gotten worse because his English got better. So my Fred impersonation has gotten terrible because his English is getting better. It's a mismatch now. WWE Women's Intercontinental Champion Lyra Valkyria defeated Raquel Rodriguez. Raquel and Liv would attack Lyra after the match. Bayley would make the save. Adam Pearce tries to resolve the issue with the women's championship after all three ladies came to the ring.
Yeah.
He finally made a match next week. Io will defend against Rhea Ripley. Defending against Rhea Ripley gets Bianca Belair at WrestleMania. So this is interesting. Maybe I thought it was going to be a three-way. That's what they were leading up to. Maybe they still do it, but I'm very curious what they do next week because I guess you needed a way for Rhea to be in it, right? That was the whole point here.
Yeah.
Because she dropped the title and then she signed the contract even though her name wasn't on it. But she does have a number one contendership clause because she was the champion.
Yeah. So can we just say this has gotten very convoluted?
This has gotten very convoluted. And where's Jade in all of this?
Right. I think that's going to be the bigger surprise either at WrestleMania or leading into WrestleMania.
Or after, or maybe even after.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Jade ate a pin last week on SmackDown.
Yeah.
Clean pin. The first time she's ever been cleaned. Pinned. Cleaned. Clean.
Clean pin.
Oh, God, it's happening again.
Oh, you're glitching out. Are we done?
I should not have drank that Windex before starting the show, dude.
Let's get out of here.
Oh, man. It's happening.
Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Later in a backstage segment, according to our producer, Pearce would inform Bianca that she would be the special guest referee, so she would have a reason to be ringside. El Grande Americano defeated Dragon Lee. This was actually a really good match until Americano ripped Dragon Lee's mask off. He would tap out to the ankle lock while trying to cover his face. You know, that is one of those spots that I always enjoy.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's such a cheap, shitty way to win a match.
Yep.
When you rip the luchador's mask and all they got to do is protect the gimmick, right? They got to protect their face. So the match is totally out the window. Who cares about losing? I got to protect my career. I always enjoy that. There are a lot of people that find that to be a weak trope with wrestling. I always think, what a dastardly thing to do. Like, you don't do that.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing you could do.
But it works. It works 100% of the time.
It works all the time. It works every time.
Has it ever not worked where the luchador was just like, who cares? You know, like, F it.
I don't think so. Has that happened where they don't even care? I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so. How did Ray lose his mask in WCW?
He lost against Scott Hall, and it was like he lost against Kevin Nash, and it was like a weird finish, and they made him take the mask off standing in the ring with him.
Yeah.
Like, he had to take it off, and then everybody realized, it's just a little boy.
Yeah.
It's been a sweet little boy this whole time.
Look at that little boy.
Look at that little boy. I can't believe it. What a youthful face. Because you didn't imagine that he looked so young.
No.
I think everybody imagined he's like, oh, he's a smaller man, but he looked like a young teenage boy.
Yeah.
I thought it was good.
And then he teamed with Conan after, right?
When Dragon Lee got unmasked in AEW, he apparently didn't cover his face like this time. I don't remember Dragon Lee in AEW getting unmasked. Did that even happen? Was he there? When did that happen?
Was it in AEW or was it in New Japan?
I don't know. I don't remember. I don't remember a lot of things at this point.
Yeah, I know. Listen, there's so much wrestling that has been happening for the last God knows how many years. It's hard to keep track of every single thing,
CM Punk. He announces that he would have a contract signing with Roman and Seth this Friday on SmackDown.
I like how MG phrased it in the notes, though.
He dumbs it down.
He would have a contract signing with the other two men.
He also made a slight nod at AEW. Did you hear that part?
The little knock where he's like, I'm working with children. Because that's what he said.
Yeah,
I'm still working with children. Okay. So you think that was a little knock, a little dig at AEW?
Oh, 100% it was. He was 100% a little knock. So I don't remember this at all, and I don't know why. Roosh unmasked Ray Phoenix in AEW. I'm sorry, not Ray Phoenix. Dragon Lee.
Okay.
Are you guys talking about Jarlistico?
Jarlistico?
I don't remember this. What is happening here?
I don't know. I don't know what's going on anymore.
I don't even understand what's happening.
So can I chime in for a quick second?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you put him? Is he on air?
So if I remember right,
this
is off the top of my head, but they brought him in as a part of LIJ.
Okay.
And he was going to be with them for then I think in the same night he joined, they jumped him and tore his mask off, and that was that. Then he was pretty much gone.
Dude, you know what's crazy? I don't remember this ever happening.
I barely.
Andrade, and apparently, according to Mad Dragon, Andrade and Roosh unmasked Dragon Lee.
Dude, that is crazy. I don't remember. Mm-hmm. It's LFI, not LIJ.
Apologies.
It rings a bell.
Dude, nothing. I got nothing here. Zero.
A little bit of a bell.
Oh,
I don't
that's
know if this
upsetting
bell
to me.
Unrung.
Oh man, it happened. I'm having holes in my brain now. So what do you make of the CM Punk stuff? Did you like SmackDown? What they did there? We didn't talk about that, obviously, but that interaction, that was a good piece of business.
Yeah, I think so. I agree with that.
What is this leading to? Does Paul Heyman turn on Roman? Do they do that? Where does it go?
Well, I like that little comment that Punk made yesterday where he was like, and by the way, Roman, Paul Heyman isn't only your wise man.
Yeah.
He said
he thanked them for bringing Roman to him.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I remember what happened here. Okay, now I remember.
Okay,
it did happen. Now I remember it. Yeah, because it was.
You remember Dragon Lee?
Now I remember Dragon Lee in getting unmasked. Yeah.
Okay.
I found the video. Now I remember when this happened. It was when Kenny was still wearing the he was wearing the shirt, so this was on his way back.
Okay.
Remember every week he was taking like a layer of clothing off? It was that time.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my God. Great.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That rings a bell too.
Yeah. WWE Men's Intercontinental Championship, Braun Breaker versus Penta. This ended in a DQ. Dominic Mysterio would run in and attack Braun Breaker. Finn would also come out and hit him with a chair. Dominic would give the chair to Penta, asking him to also hit Braun Breaker with it. Penta throws the chair down at Dom and super kicks him. Finn takes out Penta to end the show.
Great main event. I thought it was a lot of fun. And listen, like it seems like they're really, really building towards Rey Fenix.
They're building towards Rey Fenix for sure. I think this Penta being elevated to this extent is a positive. He's a new character.
Oh yeah.
Think about with this guy, right? Like you got put on your marketing hat. He has cool merch, right? That you could sell. He has a cool t-shirt design. He has a mask. He has a great entrance. And he literally is a superhero. I mean, the toy is going to sell easily.
Oh, forget it.
You want that toy. If you're a child and you're like, oh, what is this thing? I want this demonic wrestler.
Oh, if you're an adult, you want it.
If you're an adult, you want it.
Yeah.
So I think it was. I thought it was a good piece of business. I liked the ending of Raw. It was fine. It was a good Raw. Nice afternoon show.
Yeah. Yeah. Solid Raw. Nice afternoon show. I love that European crowd. What was it, like 2.5 hours maybe?
Yeah, about 2.5 hours. And they're still in Europe. They're going to be, I think, in London next week.
London on Friday.
Yeah. London on Friday and Monday. London on Friday and Monday. And then they come back.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So very good stuff. Friday SmackDown in London. Here's the card. WWE United States Champion LA Knight against Braun Strowman. Drew McIntyre makes an appearance. Tag Team Championship. Street Profits against Pretty Deadly. Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Seth Rollins contract signing for their WrestleMania match.
Great.
Is that now MG? He put a spoiler on here. This is per Fightful Select. Is it on the main Fightful website or is it only on the Fightful Select website? You're talking and nobody could hear. So Sean mentioned it last night on his show. That's what our producer said because he didn't pot himself up here. So apparently, to go back to the main event, they're working on a fatal 4-way for the IC title. Dominic Mysterio, Penta, Finn Balor against Braun Breaker. Cool. Great. Wonderful. Natural disasters. What do you make of this? Earthquake and typhoon going into the Hall of Fame. Great.
So we got Earthquake and Typhoon, Triple H, Lex Luger, and Michelle McCool. So do we get another entrant and a celebrity entrant? And who would be the warrior person this year?
I don't know. I mean, DDP should get. I mean, it really should be the DDP award at this point.
Okay.
Because think about what that guy's doing. Right now he's working with Lex Luger, and I think he's working with Abdullah the Butcher as well.
Oh my God! Wow.
So he's done tremendous work. That guy. If there was ever an award to be named after, as like a humanitarian award, it would have to be that.
I think the highlight of that show. Yes, he is.
Okay.
I think the highlight of that show, if anything, would be if they can get Lex Luger to take a couple steps on stage. I think the crowd would lose it.
Yeah. That'd be excellent. That'd be incredible. Where do you want to go here, Rich? You want to talk about AEW Collision Slam Dunk? So this weekend, and I guess I'll go into my little tidbit here.
Sure.
This was interesting. I had heard that they were looking to split the show as a test because they saw, going after a major sporting event, it kind of helps. So they attempted it again, twice this weekend. The NCAA tournament is happening. St. John's broke my heart on Saturday.
Sorry, dude.
Where's St. John's Town here? This is a St. John's Town. Bayside, Flushing. St. John's.
5 minutes from us.
5 minutes. My wife is a grad student from St. John's.
Yeah.
Beginning to end. We're big Red Storm fans.
It sucked that they lost.
It sucks that they lost. So what they did, they aired Collision. They split Collision into 2 episodes that aired on Saturday after the last game and Sunday. And we will find out what they're doing with these ratings. But I will tell you, this is not going to be the last time this year that they do something unique with the schedule. I spoke to someone a couple weeks ago, and they were telling me that these are experiments that Warner is willing to try, and that the importance of having schedule, like a set schedule, and what are you going to do? You got basketball on, and that takes precedence, right? College basketball takes precedence. The NBA All-Star Weekend takes precedence. Rather than canceling the show, let's put it on a different time slot and see if we could do something with it. Maybe you're going to attract different types of fans. We have another opportunity for this during the Stanley Cup, during the NHL playoffs. So, listen, anything could change here. And, can you hear me? Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's weird.
What's the matter? Are you freaking
totally
out?
cut out. No, they got in my head again. I couldn't hear a thing.
You got the voices in your head? Like Randy Orton?
The Randy Ortons are showing up. So this is what I'm hearing, okay? And I heard from two sides from Warner that during the Stanley Cup, there's going to be an opportunity to do something very big. And the way that it was presented to me is that it is a possibility of a 4-hour special happening.
Interesting.
Or multi-hour. I was told 4 because they're trying to, and it looks like what it could be. And the idea is still soft. It could be just Dynamite on, and then followed by a Collision. So a 4-hour block. Remember, they did this. My signs are falling now. Everything is falling apart here. You remember they did this with Grand Slam, didn't they?
Yeah.
Didn't they make it a 3-hour block where Rampage went on right after? Wasn't it? Was that Grand Slam? That Rampage went on right after? Or it was a random show?
I think so.
No, I don't remember which one it was, but they did this with Rampage. It went on right after Dynamite, and people really enjoyed it. And the numbers did really well for Rampage because it was a third hour of the show. And at the time, somebody said, we're testing to see if we could do a third hour of Dynamite. It wasn't serious, but, it was said to me, kind of half joking. This is a unique moment, and they're looking to do these more to see if they could do a large block of programming and just make it feel like a special for TV.
Right.
Pay-per-view level special for television. Kind of reminds you of the original concept of Battle of the Belts, huh?
Yes, exactly. That's a good way to put it. And you know what? Like, that original concept, I feel like, was better than the actual product, because I gotta say, when those Battle of the Belts happened, I feel like you and I were just like oblivious to them.
Well, after the first, you remember we broke that story. We broke that story because somebody told me that Tony's working on a show called Battle of the Belts. I'm like, wasn't that was a show? That was like an old name for a show. And then I found the graphic, but I was always told that that'll be their Clash of the Champions. That's their quarterly, pay-per-view level Saturday show, or whatever whatever they were going to air it on. Friday.
And I say that not as a knock to them, but I feel like because of that timing, it's just like after the first one, we were like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like, what happened this weekend?
What happened? Nothing. And then nothing happened. And it wasn't a Battle of the Belts. So this is a very unique thing. They're looking to program a large block of content. Now, I don't know if they're going to split it into, the 2-hour blocks. Like, one is Dynamite, one is Collision, or they call it a Dynamite Collision, or, Dynamite Collides, or whatever they want to call it. But
Shockwave.
Oh God, Shockwave. But interesting that they're willing to do that, because generally you don't want a 4-hour show or 4-hour block. But I guess this is another unique way to put it on, so things don't get preempted, or they don't get canceled. You don't not air it. You do it this way.
Exactly.
I'm kind of into it. Let's see what they can put together.
Yeah, same here.
I'll tell you, though, I've been hearing very positive stuff from WBD, and I brought up, the ratings and the internet chatter to them, and they're like, they don't care.
Yeah.
They're like, it doesn't even resonate.
Right.
The messaging on the internet's not even resonating with these people, and they're in key positions there. So that's something. I wanted to touch on that before I forgot to get to it. Where do you want to go?
Do you want to go into Collision Slam Dunk Sunday?
Yeah.
So you had Dralistico and the Beast Mortos losing to Los Titanes del Aire, Hologram and Commander. That's a great name. The
Which
Titans
one?
of the Air.
Los Titanes that is. Del Aire. You know what? I do like that name. I think it's going to be difficult for people to say it.
That's fine. I'm super down with the injection of all the Lucha stuff into AEW.
It's been really good. I mean, these matches are really good. And who's one that stands out to you? Give me your top luchador in AEW right now.
Does the Beast Mortos count as a luchador?
That's the one. Yeah, okay. Thank you. That's the one.
Beast Mortos.
Yeah,
Commander, Hologram, like all their lucha guys are pretty fantastic. Yeah. Did you see? I know you saw it, but did you see it? The new La Parka debut with Vampiro?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Over the
weekend,
then it
let
guys,
me down.
Please watch this video,
dude. I thought it was great, and then it led me down a Vampiro music video rabbit hole. Not a Vampiro. Sorry, a La Parka music video rabbit hole of him just doing the dance.
Fantastic.
We missed that. I mean, you got to think that guy was doing that gimmick where he was the Bone Daddy and he was talking. You know, he had that whole like the dub over in the worst period for that company.
Yes.
That was the worst period for WCW.
But also, like, I think always the takeaway, and I think you're on the same page here, the takeaway from WCW is, like, we would always enjoy the Lucha guys and the cruisers, the quote-unquote cruisers, who were, like, Jericho and Eddie and Ray and Dean Malenko.
Yeah. I mean, dude, that 96 Nitro was incredible. 97 Nitro was great. 98 Nitro was still really good. And then it just... Yeah. You know, I remember when WCW went down, like, a couple of years later, they literally would say, like, yeah, but, you know, they're coming up. Look how good the mid-card is. They got AJ Styles, and they got Christopher Daniels. And I was like, something was happening there. Now, I don't know if it would have made a difference. But there is an alternate universe that Eric Bischoff does buy this company, and they run out of Las Vegas, and it's still on.
Do you think that the first nail in that coffin was Goldberg getting cattle prodded?
No, you know what it was? The fast count for Sting.
Okay.
That was a big one. Everybody makes a finger poke of doom to be a huge point. But I don't think that's you know, again, you know, fascinating, right? The finger poke of doom. Yeah. Everybody said, oh my God, that's what killed WCW. Triple H and Shawn Michaels did the same exact thing.
Right.
With the European title. So, you know, it depends on how you're doing it. But I've been watching a lot of the stuff on the Vault on YouTube, the WCW Vault. And it's so good. I mean, it's so good, some of the stuff. And some of the stuff is so bad. It's terrible. Just an interesting time.
Now, I have a question.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, MG.
My apologies. I just wanted to mention this. I didn't put it on the notes, but Dark Side of the Ring starts tonight, and the Hell in a Cell episode is the first one.
You know, but what are they going to talk about? I get it. You know,
they already have it, right?
Let's see the season. Dark Side of the Ring season. What is it? 6? Right. Let's see. Okay, here's the episode. You got Hell in a Cell. We've heard everything about it.
Right.
Big Van Vader, I'm into. Tony Atlas, I'm into. Ludwig Borga, the white supremacist, allegedly.
Yeah.
I kind of want to know what that guy was thinking. Billy Jack Haynes might be really good because he went cuckoo.
Solid season.
Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert, that's a fascinating story. Superstar Billy Graham, I'm into. Daphne, that's another very sad story. The original Sheik and Mohammed Hassan.
Great. Sounds like a great season.
To be honest, the Hell in a Cell one is the least interesting one to me.
Is Hell in a Cell the most talked about match of all time at this point? Besides, I would say Hell in a Cell and the Montreal Screwjob. right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. If you were to talk about a most talked about match, it would have to be the Montreal Screwjob. What did you say? Definitely the first, that second Hell in a Cell.
Yeah. Mankind, Undertaker, Hell in a Cell, and Montreal Screwjob. Probably the 2 most talked about matches of all time. And I would say like a third would be Savage Steamboat.
Rock Hogan.
Oh,
Big.
yeah. My tum-tum.
Hogan Warrior.
Yeah.
Judy Bagwell on a forklift.
Sure.
The Viagra on the pole match.
Can I not pitch something to you? Can I get your opinion on something?
Yeah.
What would your reaction be? And now keep in mind, John Cena saying that he was going to destroy wrestling. What would your reaction be in 2025 if you got the finger poke of doom between John Cena and Cody Rhodes?
Oh my God, that would be devastating. I think people would reject it, even if no matter how good of a story they're telling.
And then you get 3 giant heels in Cody, John Cena, and The Rock.
I don't know. I don't know if I like. Do you like that?
No, I'm just saying, like, I wanted your opinion because, like, I don't think the finger poke of doom could be done again in that capacity.
I think now, because it's associated to the worst of WCW, I don't think any company could pull it off, no matter how creative of a fallout from that it would be.
Now, second question: are you of the same mindset that I am in that? Could we possibly see a double turn at the main event in WrestleMania between Cody and John Cena?
Yeah, I wonder that because originally, according to whatever the reports were, and I have no verification on this, that they wanted to do this with Cody, and I don't know if that would be. Oh, that's you. I thought that was our producer there just falling asleep on the microphone. I don't want to see a double turn. I think the bigger question here is going to be, okay, so John beats Cody, right? If we go that direction. John beats Cody, and then what?
Right.
Like, okay, so then what do we do? And how is The Rock involved?
I think if Cody's going to drop that belt, it has to be at WrestleMania, right?
Has to.
Otherwise, you have to keep it on him for like another year, right? Yeah. So something happens, Cody loses, or double turn, Cody retains, and then you get heel Cody and mega babyface John Cena.
Oh, and then Dwayne's like, you're a loser, and then Cody comes over to help John to defend him, and he hits him in the balls.
Yeah, something like that.
Somebody's getting hit. I can see them do that too.
Somebody's getting hit in the balls.
Someone's getting hit in the balls. Yeah.
I do want my SummerSlam main event to be John Cena, CM Punk.
They're gonna have to do it. And I think this company is very aware that time is not on their side with things.
Exactly.
AEW for whatever reason thought time was on their side, and they did not rush a lot of these matches. You know what is cool that we're going to get again eventually? We're probably going to get Punk and Penta again.
Yes.
That was a TV match.
It was a TV match. Very interesting how things kind of come full circle.
Yeah. Let's go back to this. You want to just run down this card really quick and we'll talk about AEW Dynamite and do Q&A?
Yeah. Harley Cameron defeated Amina Belmont versus pinfall via pinfall. You had Bandito defeating Johnny TV. And it's funny because whenever I see Johnny TV on AEW, I'm like, oh, he still works there.
We also had but I think you had the trios match too, right?
Which trio? The trios match at the end, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm doing
okay, got it.
I'm going backwards, yeah.
Okay.
Undisputed Kingdom were interviewed by Lexi Nair backstage. Cole vowed to win the TNT title from Danny Garcia. Cool. I think that's a good position for him.
I think that's a great position, yeah, and he's looking better.
Yeah. And you had your main event, the AEW's Trios Championship match. The Death Riders, Pac, Wheeler Yuta, and Claudio defeating AR Fox and Top Flight via pinfall. Do you think the Death Riders should wrap it up, B?
I don't know where it's leading to. I think here's the problem with Death Riders. I think everybody got in their head that this was leading to something much larger because they started breaking down that Jon Moxley promo with Tony Schiavone early on, and when he said, "This is not your company anymore," everybody kind of assumed that something was happening.
Right.
Someone else was coming in. So they were going to do something big. This was going to be a hot angle, and it didn't really turn into that.
Yeah. It was kind of a whole lot of nothing.
And Jon Moxley's great. He's reliable. He never has a bad match. Forget about your preference in his style of matches, because I will tell you, I was not a fan of that match last week.
Oh, you didn't like the match or the spot?
The spot, not my deal. It's not for. I thought it was a better match than the pay-per-view match. But okay, so now Edge lost again.
Right.
What are you doing?
For Edge?
I've been saying this for weeks. They did this backwards. What they should have done was have him come in and be embraced by Christian, and you get a couple matches of them doing things together. Maybe going for a tag title, maybe losing, then Christian turns on him, and you built a program between the two of them. Instead, they went in a very backwardsy way back to Christian now.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, they'll always be married. I mean, that's a given, but I think they could have been a little bit more creative with the way that they got to where they got. Now, you have a very different main event picture. Edge is out of there. Christian's out of that picture. And now you're going into Dynasty, and you're going into Double or Nothing, and then All In, which All In is going to be the story of who you're crowning as your next big guy, most likely Will Ospreay. So you'll get Will Ospreay to win the title at All In. Again, I'm not spoiled. I'm just giving you where things make sense. This is not like in fact. Sure. I don't want someone to be like, "Hey, you're spoiling the main event of All In." I'm just going where I think things kind of fall in. And then you're going to have maybe a unification between Okada and Omega.
Right.
That's the other thing. I think they may be doing that.
I hope so.
I'm not reporting it, but I think they may be doing that. Let's look at this. AEW Dynamite for this week, and then we're going to do Q&A stuff. MJF response to the Hurt Syndicate offer.
Great.
I would love for him to join and to be the Owen Hart in the group.
100%.
But you know what? Talk about Owen Hart. Naomi was in an Owen Hart outfit last week.
Yes.
So I think she stole that from him. Kenny Omega versus Blake Christian. Kyle Fletcher versus Brody King. Tony Storm and Thunder Rosa versus Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford. Mark Davis versus Powerhouse Hobbs. Mark Briscoe and Takeshita. Rated FTR. Cope, Dax Harwood, and Cash Wheeler interview with Tony Schiavone. So, and this is adding the other layer of this where there's a problem with FTR and Cope because Cope's a big fat loser and he can't win the big matches. And it's upset these boys. It's upset these boys so much that Dax is now turning.
Yeah.
Let's see how that happens.
Turn Cope heel, man.
AEW Dynamite Spring Breakthrough is announced for April 16th. This is at the MGM Music Hall at Fenway in Boston. Here's the important part of this. AEW Dynamite will become the longest-running weekly primetime wrestling show in Turner Network history, as it'll pass WCW Nitro that night.
Wild.
For 20-something years. For 24 years, WCW's been gone, and we regularly speak about this company. And it was only on for about 289 weeks.
Yeah.
Wild, right?
Really nuts.
It was it was a blip.
It's also wild that, we're still talking about it 25 years later.
Yeah, I think that it says something.
Yeah.
It says something because
who didn't want to be in the NWO?
Who didn't want to be in the NWO?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, didn't you, like, when you saw the NWO, were you like, I want to be the cool heels?
It was the coolest thing. But it is amazing to think about how it's the same exact thing. Like we're at, if you really think about it, I wondered there should be like a case study about wrestling fatigue outside of WWE, because around the same time that people started poo-pooing on WCW, it happened to AEW as well, where if you really look at the narrative, if you go online and you look at some of the narrative, it's that this company is dead in the water. Right. But the viewership has been consistently holding, if not rising, little by little. And the attendance has been rising since going into smaller venues.
Yes.
Was WCW much larger? Yeah. I mean, it depends. They never made the money that AEW is going to make.
Right.
And that's crazy. Hit the sneeze. The demons the voices in my head are trying to get out.
The voices?
But if you think about it, they never made money like AEW is going to be making because of TV rights change. And again, this is not a knock at WCW mismanagement, because it was mismanaged. It's more of the landscape of TV. Your viewership is down, but the value of TV is higher because it takes so much more to get higher ratings. You're competing with so much. Right. So if you're able to garner, a key demo of a .20, a .16, a .17, it's a big deal. And they're always 1 or 2 or 3 for the night. I mean, that's a big deal. But WCW got canceled with 3 million viewers a week.
Which is wild when you think about that. If anything has 3 million viewers, they'll make a whole network surrounding you,
Yeah.
But the other thing that I think that's crucial about, talking about Nitro is Nitro was always very, quote unquote, I always felt like it was angry because when you found out about the ageist shit that Vince was doing, where he was saying you guys are too old for me. Right. Yeah. And what did they do? All your quote unquote old guys made the coolest thing that you could watch on wrestling, like NWO, Hogan, and Steiner, Macho Man,
And that trope still exists.
Yeah.
With AEW. Oh, that's where the old guys go. That's where, you get fired from WWE. You end up, AEW is too much WWE talent. Well, where else are you going to find TV ready performers for your television show?
Exactly.
It's almost like, I bring this up all the time, right? You got a cop show on. Aren't you looking for the actor that could best play that role?
Right.
Do people say well, so-and-so also played a cop in this movie, so, why aren't they getting somebody from Central Casting, some new kid to play the role? Why are they going for the old guy that's been there? I that narrative is more of a WWF thing that changed, where, it was a Vinceism where you're 40 years old, you're too old. You're 39 years old, you're too. Ric Flair won the WWE title in 1992, January of 1992, at the age of 42 years old.
Yeah.
That was an old man.
According to Vince.
AJ Styles is 75 and still flipping in circles.
Yeah, you guys flipping and dipping left and right, man.
So I do find this to be very interesting that they are passing WCW. It's very interesting to me, and I'm curious what they're going to do that day.
Yeah. True. Right. NWO tribute.
Tony Khan comes out dressed like Eric Bischoff. On a motorcycle, on a Harley. I think that would be great.
Yep. Who would be your outsiders?
Who would be his outsiders?
Yeah.
Who would be his outsiders? Probably the Bucks.
Okay.
My dog is losing his mind.
Want to hear something wild?
Somebody's at my door. Yeah.
So they announced, you were talking about older wrestlers. Joey Janela's Spring Break just announced a scramble match, and all competitors will be over 55. And if you think about it, there's enough out there. They haven't announced anybody yet, but I'm like, who do they get? And I start thinking about it. I'm like, man, there's a lot of people they'll probably end up getting. Yeah. Like that Mike PCO. Jackson guy, which is 75. There's all kinds of people.
Interesting.
But it's just wild.
That's wild.
Listen, it's getting people paid. And if people want to see it, who the hell cares? If it's entertaining, who cares how old they are? If it's working, people are interested.
And that's the kind of show you can do that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, where do you want to go? You want to do Q&A?
Yeah, let's do Q&A. You
All
ready?
right, Q&A time, boys and girls. Submit your question in the chat, and we will do our best to answer it. For people who did miss what the story was for today, it was that AEW most likely would be running a 4-hour block during the Stanley Cup. And the way, there's multiple ideas to this, but it will be a combo show. I believe it's going to be Collision and Dynamite, and they're going to make it big. They're going to make a big deal out of this.
Yeah. Shockwave. The prank show.
No,
it's going to be a 4-hour prank show called Shockwave.
Yeah. That's Rich's scoop. It's a prank show.
That's my scoop. Shockwave is a prank show. It's going to be 4 hours long, and it's just going to be Brian Cage throwing the Rizzler at everybody.
Yeah.
Well, I'd watch that. Trust the Process 34 says, a couple of weeks ago on Mat Men, you cryptically alluded to a potentially big AEW surprise when talking about All In and said nobody would have had it on their 2025 bingo card. Any update on this surprise?
No update on the surprise. And you gave $10 for that, and I wish I could answer it. I'm not ready to say it yet. Not because I don't want to, because the person that told me, hey, don't say this because it's possible it could not happen.
Mm-hmm.
So
right.
The odds are it is, but I don't want to jump the gun here. I thought I would have had it solidified by now. I don't have it solidified.
This is another super chat from Ten Ruza. Thoughts going into AEW Dynasty?
Here's my question. Are people assuming, and this is a question for the chat room and you guys, are people assuming that Moxley is dropping it to Swerve? Is that the assumption?
Do you want to see that happen?
Well, I think I think the bigger story would be Moxley dropping it to Ospreay at All In.
Okay.
So does Swerve win the title? I don't know. I don't know what people want. To me, it makes more sense for someone to beat Moxley in like this. Okay, AEW got their title back from this man that was holding it hostage.
Yeah, it's also still not a very fleshed out story either, and again,
I don't know if there is one but I don't know if there is
every single time. Right. Hot potato, man. Hot potato that title.
You kind of would have to. I feel like you kind of would have to, because if Swerve wins the title at Dynasty,
yeah,
I really don't think it should be a babyface and a babyface in that main event at All In.
Yeah.
For the title. It really should be a heel that you want to see the babyface win the title from, and you propel him into, like, this is the new face of the company now. This is the guy. I don't think that'll work if it's Swerve, for example, dropping it to Will Ospreay, or it's Hangman, because it's going to be a split crowd, and I don't think you need a split crowd on this.
Right.
Especially, for a mega match like that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you want the bigger pop. Like, what leads to the bigger pop?
Yeah.
We got another super chat here from Brian Michael Smith over in Canada. Cena versus Rhodes prediction and Io Bianca Rhea. Woo.
Give me yours. Give me your prediction for that match.
I think you're gonna. My fanboyness is telling me double turn, so I'm banking on a double turn Cena and Cody, with Cody retaining.
A double turn with Cody retaining.
And I think Bianca winning at Mania also.
Bianca winning at Mania. Let's see. I think you're going to get a very WWE main event, a WrestleMania main event with like 18 interferences. I think Austin shows up and him and Dwayne go face to face one last time. You could do that. You could do, there's so many different avenues, because does the match even matter, or is everybody there to see who's going to run in for the big spots and the 18 false finishes?
I think that's what it is. I think that's what it is, right? That's what your main event should be, where it's just like this giant spectacle. You know, if you think that these guys are just going to have a straight up match, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Again, this is a good question to
great
piggyback
question.
on that from Brian Michael Smith. What 2 main events should WWE put for WrestleMania 2 nights? Cena Rhodes night 2.
Yeah.
And I think night 1 should be Punk, Roman, and Rollins.
Yeah. I think so. I think those are two mega matches. Because you don't have anything else that's gonna be bigger than Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and
Right.
Seth on night 1. And unfortunately, the women's matches, both matches are, one, it's not that hot right now, the Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte program. Even though I did like the split screen interview on SmackDown, and Charlotte came off way more natural here.
Yes.
Woo or boo. I like that line. But you really don't have anything that's big enough to main event it. So it has to be Roman Reigns and Punk. But again, that has a big story of its own too, because it has the Paul Heyman aspect of, what's the relationship between Paul and Punk.
Right.
I think the odd man out here. What's interesting is that like Seth shouldn't be in this match.
Okay. Why?
I think the bigger, I think they're going to lead to obviously a singles match between Roman and Punk, but the really that's what you want to see is Roman and Punk because of the Paul Heyman thing.
Right.
It makes sense because, to think technically they were his mercenaries, right? That was the story that they were telling you. So there is something there. They're married with that, but I don't see, I don't know. I think Seth there to take the pin. Maybe.
Yeah, he eats the pin for sure. So what do you think the end is going to be? Seth takes a GTS into a spear and they both pin him.
And then everybody kisses.
There we go.
The end.
This is from Tenruza. Thoughts on WWE doing the shows around the AEW All In and Forbidden Door with people thinking AEW should give Sting for Hall of Fame. WWE is hella MAGA, eh?
I mean, they're not. I mean, they're a company that's in the fight sport world. So this is just regular promoters being promoters,
right?
Exactly. You're running to hurt the other venue because it's not going to hurt you as much. The competition. I hate when they do this because the people that lose out are the fans, and that's the worst part of it.
Yeah,
because now you're gonna get two products in the same area, and most likely both will not sell out.
Exactly. I also don't think that WWE politicizes itself as much as people think they do.
I don't think they politicize themselves. I think it's people's just perception and them filling in the blanks.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that it's not true, but I don't feel that way when I watch their TV.
No, me neither. I think it's very much like, from a very bare bones standpoint, I think it's very much like WWE is the front runner of whatever is currently going on in Americana right now. So listen, the country voted for who they voted for. WWE is going to swing that way, right?
I think
it's
they
a
also
populist ideology.
Listen, I here's a shocker, right? Most of that roster is split like America.
Yeah.
It's a 50-50 roster. There are Republicans in that roster, and there's Democrats in that roster, and nobody gives a shit. None of them care. You know why? Because they're all fucking rich, and they're all making money.
Exactly.
And these are not even. It's a bunch of millionaires play fighting, and nobody really cares. I don't think that these thoughts go through their minds at all. And you know what? There is a brotherhood in wrestling. There's a sisterhood in wrestling. And for the most part, 99% of the time, your brotherhood and your sisterhood in this weird circus that you work in takes precedence over who you voted for.
Exactly.
And that's just how it is there. How it is most places.
Yeah. This is from Mason 346. How many ticks do you think AEW would need to sell for All In for Tony to continue viewing it as a stadium show?
How many tickets would they need to sell for All In? I think it has to be over 20,000. Right? Because that's a good number.
Yeah. Right.
To be at 20. I mean, listen, technically, Tony wants to be at 30,000, 40,000 with the venue he booked, but I don't know if that's possible because of is the product hot enough? A year ago, yeah, I would have said that. 2 years ago, yeah, they would have 100% done that. 3 years ago, they would have done it.
Yeah.
So I hope they do well with this show. I hope that this show stays in the States.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a big ask to fill in a stadium like that. It's especially when your product is not as hot and your competition is really hot.
Mason346 also asks, any vague hint on that surprise? Maybe time frame of a possible reveal, whether it's a talent surprise or booking or business.
Maybe talent and booking.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go with talent and booking.
Sure.
Dude, Goldberg wins
talent
the title.
booking.
Goldberg wins the title in the main event. That's what it is. Sorry, guys.
Destroys everybody's brain. Destroys everybody's
I'm
brain.
making a joke.
Imagine.
That's a joke. That's a joke.
You got to do air quotes.
That's a joke.
Bush and Ryu. WrestleMania is filled with so many three-way matches. What's a three-way showdown you'd like to make? My three-way foodie battle is pizza versus cheeseburger versus fried chicken.
I had a great. You know what I had the other day? Patsy's.
What'd you have?
Patsy's and White.
Oh yeah,
dude,
nice.
It's great. Been around since the 30s, 1932.
Yeah.
Their thing is super thin pies, like super thin. It's incredible.
Yes.
Have you had Patsy's?
Yeah.
It's great. Why don't people talk about it more?
Is this the first time you had Patsy's?
No. I've had it numerous times, but I've been having a lot more after the volleyball games.
Okay. Yeah.
The kids like to go there after Taylor's volleyball games, so we've been going there.
Yeah.
Super thin. Thin. It's excellent. It's great.
Yeah, that's good pizza. I would suggest if you want to take the trip to Astoria, Milk Flour blows Patsy's out of the water.
That's what everybody says.
Thin, tasty pizza.
That's what everybody says. We should go.
You ready for more?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Once Chris Bay is back, do you think he'd prefer to go to AEW or WWE?
I don't know, but what a remarkable story.
He walked out.
And wherever he goes, he'll have a great story. The fact that man is walking is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And it was a neck breaker. It was not a crazy spot. It was a neck breaker.
Yeah.
And if you hear him talk about it, he talks about how tired he is. He was so tired from the night before.
It's unfortunately always those smaller spots that do it. Look at Punk, man. Punk tried to stage dive into the crowd and broke his foot.
Yeah. He broke his foot.
When Cena wins 17, does he go a whole year with it? I think Cody is best when he's chasing.
Cody is best when he's chasing. I don't know if Cena goes a whole year. Maybe he goes to SummerSlam and they drop him there, Do
you think Cena's gonna get 17, or is this like another giant troll from WWE?
I don't know. Should he get 17? Sure, he should get 17. Him being WWE champion in April and May, what does that do to TV numbers? I think that's a big thing. John Cena is the world champion again. There's an entire. You got to remember, like we're older here, and I'm not telling Rich this. I'm talking to you. We're older, so. Our legends coming back and winning titles is not a possibility, but when it did happen, it was a big thing. When Hogan came back and he won the title.
I still think that's so wild
that he came back and won the title in 2002.
Yeah, that he came back in the red and yellow and won the title, and they put the undisputed championship on this guy.
Yeah, immediately, dude. They did it immediately. Yeah. Vince pivoted immediately to him.
I want that belt, brother.
Give me that belt, brother. Cena getting the title, will it do anything? Yeah, I think it'll do something.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Let's see. This is from F. Guggenheim. Remember when there were leaks that WWE was looking to restructure Punk's deal? Whatever happened with that?
Where did the leaks? What were they trying to do?
I vaguely remember something about that.
He has a great deal. So I don't think it's he's upset by his deal, and he has made them a lot of money.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that story was, or who reported it.
I'm excited to see his episode with Steph.
He hugs her and gets his sweat all over her because apparently that's what he does.
That's how he marks his territory.
Yeah.
Bushin Ryu Cat says, Rich, Sean, thank you for whetting my appetite. Patsy's is on my list.
Sean is an expert on Queens pizzerias.
You're Sean, dude.
I'm a Sean Ross Sapp now?
I know you. You're Sean Ross Sapp, dude.
I am Sean Ross Sapp. Don't let anybody fool you. It's been me all along. This is the real Sean Ross Sapp.
Let me tell you, you guys sound and look exactly alike. It's crazy that I do this show with you, and I'm like, holy shit, am I talking to Sean Ross Sapp?
He's from Kentucky. No, where is he from? Where's Sean from? Kentucky? Kentucky. Yeah. That's a great Freaky Friday where I'm him and he's me for one day.
I would love that.
Can you imagine? I would
love.
You know what? I want a Freaky Friday with Sean Ross Sapp. That's what we're gonna do. Yeah. We're gonna do a Freaky Friday.
I mean, it's like looking in a mirror. You guys are twins. You are also from Kentucky.
I'm also from Kentucky. I am a Kentucky. Kentuckian. What are they called? Kentuckians?
I think they're called Kentuckians.
Yeah. I want to go to Kentucky. I want to see what's going on there. What's going on in Kentucky?
We're going to come visit you too, MG Geek, up in Michigan.
Yeah, but he's from a part that my people are not allowed to go visit. The part of Michigan he's from. They don't take kindly to my type.
Michigan does have a history of that sort of thing, if you know what I mean.
I mean, people from Bayside, Queens. They're not a big fan of people from Bayside, Queens. All right, what else do we have?
If this is from Ten Ruza, if Cena gets 17, does he bring the spinner back?
Oh my God! You know what? You want to talk about selling out? That would be a perfect way to piss people off. That belt was. I would say it was polarizing. It wasn't unanimously hated, but it was very disliked. Yeah. That belt
never had a problem with it.
I had less of a problem when it stopped spinning.
When it just became when Punk had it, right? When Punk had that long reign. Yeah.
When Punk had it, it didn't bother me as much. But that whole time that poor man was trying to get a new belt. He hated that title.
Yes. Yeah, didn't Edge have or Randy have an R? Did Edge have an R?
Edge had an R.
Edge had an R, rated R belt, right?
Yeah. I never liked it. It wasn't for me. I know, but it wasn't unanimously hated. There were many people that absolutely love that title belt. They still think that that's one of the best designs. Not me.
Right.
And I also think because you went from that undisputed title that was such like a traditional, beautiful belt. Yes. And they only had it for a couple of years, and then you moved on to that spinner belt. That spinner belt was never supposed to last that long, by the way. That was never the plan.
But listen, pro wrestling, right? Pro wrestling will troll you. It'll hurt your feelings. Every single thing that John Cena has said in his heel promos is the truth, right? Yeah. Like, I brought you this, you're for it. I did this, you hated me, blah, 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 blah.
Cadillac Carson has a great question here.
Okay. How does one do a Freaky Friday? Do you break a wishbone together and make a wish?
I can't say it on this network.
Yeah.
It'll get the show canceled if I expose how a Freaky Friday is done. Maybe on Matt Men on Friday I could talk about it.
We can clean it up a little bit and say that you and Sean would have to do the Perfect Strangers Dance of Joy together.
Yeah. We have to do the Dance of Joy.
And that's how it happens. It's a weird reference.
I'm the Balky Bartakamus, and he's the cousin Larry. And he's the cousin Larry. Yeah.
You're the Bronson Pinchot to his cousin Larry. I feel like nobody's going to get that reference. You got that reference, clearly. MG did not get that reference.
No.
He doesn't watch anything ethnic like that.
Balky Bartakamos, where was he from?
Meepos.
Meepos. He was from Meepos.
He was from Meepos. All right.
Yo, Tracy Morgan. Tracy, are you a big fan of Our Perfect Strangers?
I love Perfect Strangers. My cousin Larry. I love you, cousin Larry. I think we're done. Today.
We're done. All right. Look, well, actually, somebody was asking about Saraya. What's going on with her?
Yeah. What's going on with Saraya?
She's coming to an end.
You think so? You think she's done?
I think she's coming to an end. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
She I think she posted that she may not get her match with Mercedes in AEW. I hope that she does. I hope that they could do something and send her off. Well, she was a pivotal part of that women's wrestling movement.
Yes.
Forget about the controversy and the terrible time in her life. But she really started at her and AJ Lee. Was it AJ? AJ actually did it first. She came in and she won the title, and then Saraya did the same thing to her, and then it started off that whole thing.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I do like the story of her doing something, but I think it's just coming to an end.
Yeah.
That's it. We're done.
Yeah, we're done. We got one more here. If you want to do the last one, is Jericho getting from Boris? Is Jericho getting a big new contract from AEW, or is he getting a pay cut?
I don't know. I have no idea. Those things are all done by the agents now, so I don't think he's going to get. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what you do with Jericho. I do believe that he is necessary.
Yeah.
I think having a Jericho there is a positive. I don't poo-poo on Jericho as much as other people. Having a veteran there is important, especially someone like him. But I don't know what the value of that is. I don't know what his contract value would be.
I think, if anything, Jericho will come back to WWE at some point and be on commentary.
I definitely see him going back there for something. I mean, it's wrestling. There's only two major companies that you're going to become a millionaire in or make tremendous money in all of professional wrestling. You make a good living somewhere else, but you're not going to become wealthy. And it's a very short, it's a short career sport.
Yeah.
The odds of you having a 20-year career are more now, but it's pretty slim. And then what do? You could look at Chris Bay on a freak accident. This guy's not career, his life was almost taken from him. So you want to make as much money as possible and have the best possible life, doing it. But I think I don't know. I think there's a place for all of them. So Jericho going back, I think that's great. I can't hear a thing because my cable got unplugged again while we end the show. All right, wrapping up.
All right. Yeah, let's wrap it up.
That's it, guys. See you all next week. If you want more Rich and Andrew, join us on Friday, 10:30 Eastern on youtube.com/MattMenPodcast, where we do our Matt Men podcast, and it's wrestling adjacent. So it's a little less wrestling and a lot more bullshitting. So we'll see you all Friday. Take care.